Hall, Veterans Memorial Town Hall on South Main Street, 558 South Main Street, and just to announce that pursuant to Governor Baker's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the governor's order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in any one place, the Raynham Board of Selectmen meeting is being conducted with the public body members in person and the general public following the proceedings remotely. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings, either by tuning into the Raynham cable channel, we are live, or by calling in on the GoToMeeting app or through their phone. And with that, I would first ask for you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In addition to, we have with us Selectmen Joseph Pacheco, our Vice Chair, and Richard Chavo. We also have with us our Town Administrator, Graham Waters, and our Health Agent, Matt Tanis, and our Recording Secretary, Janet, is with us as well. And I would also like to just announce that we are returning from executive session. We did take 2 votes in executive session, and one is to request quotes for an human resources consultant with a target date of October 13th as concluding that effort. And I think if we could just vote that in open meeting as well. Motion by Mr. Pacheco, second by Mr. Chavo. Any discussion?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. And we also voted to have the front door fixed and the back door repaired as well, and to explore the technology similar to a Ring doorbell for access.
And motion?
Motion by Mr. Pacheco, second by Mr. Chavo. Any further discussion?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And those are both unanimous votes. And I thank you very much. And with that, we would also like to, I would ask for a motion to accept the minutes of the September 8th meeting as printed.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Pacheco, second by Mr. Chavo. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Next, we have our Health Agent, Matt Tanis, for his monthly report. Matt?
Board. Be back. Just give you a quick update just on the COVID cases within the town. This is going back since all the way to day 1, so the middle of March. Total confirmed cases of COVID-19 within Raynham as of at least within about 30 minutes ago. It was 254. Of that 254, 95 of them were out of long-term care facilities, which would be All American and Life Care. That number has not changed. They've had no positive cases in either facility for the last at least 2 months or so. I've been in touch with Life Care, and they're following really strict protocols to keep it that way. That leaves about 159 cases that were not associated with the long-term care facilities within Raynham, so it'd be the Raynham residents. Total deaths within the long-term care facilities, again, have not really changed in the last couple months. It's holding at 44, and 5 deaths within Raynham for the Raynham residents. Total recoveries reported at this point is 201. That leaves 4 people that are still currently under isolation or indoor quarantine requirements. So about 4 cases in the last 2 weeks, which is good, certainly compared to a lot of other communities within the Commonwealth. And also 35 probable or suspect cases. The probable cases are those that have gone for antibody testing and don't meet the criteria based on the lab work that they have a current case, but at some point may have had positive COVID. So that's 35. So with that, our office is still responding to COVID-related complaints. We're getting good compliance from the businesses that we've had to visit regarding primarily mask use and employees and customers wearing masks. Probably a question and some discussion that's going to be coming up is Halloween. It's been asked, especially in the last week or so, from us health agents to the state, if the state is going to provide any just general guidance to all the cities and towns regarding Halloween and also any possible fall or winter sports. And they are working on some guidance to send to us. That way, the state is, in general, is going to be as consistent as possible across the Commonwealth. So once that information is available, I'll pass it up to Board of Selectmen, so you're aware of what's going on. I've been in a lot of contact with Derek Swenson, the Bridgewater Raynham superintendent, especially in the last 24 hours, just regarding school opening in the year ahead, what our role and responsibility will be as far as Raynham and the health department with the schools. We're going to be meeting at least weekly just to discuss where the town is at with cases, where the school is at with their policies and procedures. And then certainly as any emergent issue arises, we'll have an open line of communication 7 days a week, should the need arise. Non-COVID related, received a pretty lengthy complaint regarding some conditions at Shady Acres Mobile Home Park. Some of these complaints were not new to me. Been some long outstanding issues there, but there's new issues that have also arisen. This came in yesterday. I'm going to be working with the Attorney General's office. They do have a newer park owner there. So I think that there's some things that need to be worked out between the park owner, the town, and the Attorney General's office to get them into compliance. So we'll be doing that over the next couple months. Last Tuesday, our office responded along with the fire department to a office building on Paramount Drive. There had been a spill of mercury from some older medical equipment. The state's hazmat team also responded. The building ended up being closed, I believe, about 2 days while the property management company got, I believe it was Clean Harbors, in to do proper remediation. And that building is now safe and back open. Mosquito season, Triple E West Nile virus. Mosquito season is certainly still active, but is certainly slowing. September 15th today is actually a pretty specific date that the state uses. In the past, at September 15th, only about 5% of Triple E cases have occurred after September 15th date. So that's a good thing. It means that we're very close to the end of the Triple E transmission season. West Nile virus, that transmission season will usually last through mid-October. But of course, for both diseases, there's certainly a risk until we have the first hard frost, which is 28 degrees for 4 hours or more. The county has now ended just the routine ground spray application, but will spray upon request at this point, provided the temperatures remain appropriate for them. And just last two things, seen a lot of cases of Lyme disease this spring and over the summer reported. So just a reminder to the public, along with COVID, just to remember, if you're outside, especially with COVID, a lot of people are spending more time outdoors. Just check yourself for ticks when you come in. Maybe consider wearing repellent. And just a last reminder, everybody at home should definitely be trying to get their flu shot. With COVID, you can definitely get both infections at the same time. So definitely get your flu shot and get it as early as possible for the best protection through the fall and winter.
Okay, Mr.
Any
Pacheco?
questions?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Shavo?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much. You've been very busy.
Yes.
Now, Matt, let me ask you one question.
Sure.
I know they sprayed earlier than usual for mosquitoes. Anything yet about as far as the numbers? Are they down significantly? I mean, I shouldn't say anything, but to me it seems like they are. As far as numbers?
The actual, for the mosquito counts, definitely are lower, especially compared to last year.
Right. So that early spraying, I think, probably helped.
I think so, for sure. I know that the county also used some different larvicide this early in the spring, which may also contribute to our lower numbers here. Certainly Plymouth County was hit quite a bit harder than Bristol County this year. So I'll have to be following up with the director of the County Mosquito Control, Priscilla, over the next week or so, and just find out exactly, where the season, as a whole ended up.
Right. Very good. All right, thank you very much.
Sure, you're welcome. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
You as well.
Next, we have an appointment for a special police officer. It is respectfully requested that the below-listed person be appointed as a special officer for the Raynham Police Department. This is from our police chief, James Donovan, and the individual is Edward Dutra Jr. of Dighton. Mr. Dutra has all of the requirements to exercise police powers. Do we have a motion? Motion to approve by Mr. Pacheco, second by Mr. Shavo. I think because it's an appointment, roll call. Mr. Pacheco?
Aye.
Mr. Shavo, and the chair votes aye. That is unanimously approved. And next, we have a continuation of the public hearing, Slapshots Pub, 524 Broadway, Jeffrey Sinkowicz, manager for alteration of premises. This has been continued a couple of times. I know we continued it until this date. It is, as I said, for an alteration of licensed premises to allow outdoor dining, I believe. And does the board have any recommendations where we go?
I'm prepared to make a motion, Madam Chair, unless you just want to see if anybody's here where it is a public hearing.
Sure. Is anybody in the public out there want to comment on the public hearing before us? You see anyone, Graham?
We have Mr. Sinkowitz on the phone. I don't know if the neighbor from before is on the line as well. but
Mr. Sinkowitz, do you want to address us at this time?
Yeah, I mean, it's been 3 months since the patio's been opened. We haven't had any complaints. I haven't heard from Mr. McDonald, so I'm assuming all is well. I mean, I just want to tell the board, the only mistake I made was doing this, spending this $30,000 on this patio before getting approval. I just never thought that it comes to 3 meetings in 3 months of meetings. But everything that we've done has been done right. It's usually shut down early anyways. There's no noise. I've done a lot of things to appease Mr. McDonald. I moved my smoke into the other side of the building, so there's no noise. That whole area, there's no crowd in that general area in his property. He had requested for me to fix a trash bin that the wheels were scraping on the parking lot. You could hear it going across the parking lot, and I fixed that for him. He also made me aware that there was a lot of trash along the side of the street. We were cleaning it up on his side, but according to him, it was more, whatever the case was, we're monitoring that area much more frequently than we used to. So basically, anything he's been asking for, I've been appeasing him for that. Besides that, I mean, we just need the patio to survive. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I sent you guys a letter. I'm not going to keep this short and not waste your time, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but we do need that. So, and I just want to make the point that there's never been a complaint in my restaurant. I am about to open a second business next door, as you know, with the ice cream shop. I support the town in every way I possibly can, and we just do the right thing. And none of my abutters, this is the 3rd meeting, and we do not have another abutter or neighbor that has complained about this. So I just can't see any reason why I can't get this permanently.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sinkowitz. Do we have any questions?
No, I have no questions. I would motion to approve with the discussion to say that I think sometimes these processes take a while, and I don't think there's any problem with it taking a while because it's the board's prerogative to do due diligence and make sure that the integrity of a neighborhood is preserved, and I think that's what this process accomplished. It certainly has put my mind at ease, and I think the fact that there haven't been complaints is a good sign. So I would, again, motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve, second by
I will
Mr.
second this
Shavo.
motion.
Do we have any discussion?
None.
Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Just for the record, roll call, Mr. Pacheco?
Aye.
Mr. Shavo?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. It is unanimous. It is approved, Mr. Sinkowitz. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. Next, we have, I don't believe we have any completion of old or continuing business. New business, the Collins Center Town Government Organizational Structure Review. Mr. Waters.
Sure. In your packets was the original proposal I sent to the board. I received feedback from the Selectmen, and this was put on the agenda just as a final hurrah. The proposal will move forward as soon as a final document is signed, and if there's any questions or consideration by the board.
Okay, any questions or comments, Mr. Pacheco?
Yeah, just the comments that I had provided to Mr. Waters, where I think the proposal needed to do a more accurate job of targeting the main concern that I had, which was the town administrator's position, the function, the responsibility, reporting structure, and also communication. And so if a final product were to have a greater emphasis on that, it would bring me a lot more comfort.
And any should we have a motion?
So, yeah. but-
Sure, I would motion to approve with the strict inclusion of the comments I just made.
Okay.
And
A
the comments,
second?
I'm sorry,
Mr. Schaffner, would you
To have a more laser focus on the position of town administrator, the selectman's office, the function, the role, the responsibilities, reporting structure, and ways to improve communication
Yeah.
with the board.
Yep. I will make this comment in
Discussion.
by way of seconding it. As I understand Selectman Pacheco, and I second this, what I see this study doing is improving communication, being a bridge between the town administrator, the department heads, and the selectmen, and in that process, giving us a better sense of how effective we are operating as a team, how collaborative we are, and I think that to the extent that that is accomplished, the Collins study will have been a success. So I second it with that.
Okay, any additional discussion? Just for the benefit of the public, just as information, the Edward Collins Junior Center for Public Management was established in 2008 in the McCormick Graduate School of Policy and Global Studies to further the public service mission of the University of Massachusetts, Boston. The center provides technical assistance to municipalities, school districts, regional governments, and state agencies on all aspects of public management, and it is obviously a well-respected center. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. It is a vote. I asked, next on our agenda is Selectmen's goals for fiscal year '21. I asked to put this on the agenda just to bring it up and that perhaps we can take it under advisement. Here to benefit Mr. Shavo, a year ago, Mr. Waters proposed that we go forward with goals, and I'm one that is always very pleased to go forward with goals. I think you need a roadmap of where you want to go. It helps you to get there. So perhaps we could take these under advisement, look at them, see if there are any we want to continue with, or if we want to eliminate any, or if we want to add any, and maybe put it on the agenda again for 2 weeks.
Sure, so moved.
Okay,
Second, yeah.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Thank you very much. Town Administrator's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Give me 1 second. Ongoing projects, Town Hall painting. This project has been delayed by the contractor due to a lack of available labor. The Conservation Commission clerk, the job description is being drafted and the position will be advertised in the next couple of weeks. FEMA and CARES Act reporting. I am working with Chief Lasivita and his staff and the accounting office on reporting expenses for FEMA and the CARES Act for reimbursement and reconciliation. Upcoming business includes Capital Budget and Planning Committee meeting. This will be a web meeting on Thursday, September 17th at 6:30 p.m. The agenda is available online with call-in instructions provided. And then the next regularly scheduled Selectmen's meeting will be on Tuesday, September 22nd at 7 p.m. in the Don McKinnon Meeting Room of Town Hall, 558 South Main Street, Raynham, Massachusetts. The public will be able to participate via the GoToMeeting platform or by watching the Raynham Channel on Verizon, Comcast, or recorded, posted later on YouTube. That is all I have, Madam Chair, if there's anything by the board.
Thank you, Mr. Waters. Any questions? Mr. Pacheco?
I do, Madam Chair. Actually, this was going to be under my selectmen's report, and then I saw it on the administrator's report. The job postings for both Concom and Board of Health, I understand they have not been done yet. It's been 3 weeks now since the board voted to post these positions, and I actually had somebody reach out to me who had been interested in applying and had been looking and wanted to know if they missed it, and I realized they haven't been posted, so I'm going to be making a motion that the draft postings come before the board for review by next Friday. I think these need to get going. We were told that these are critical positions that need to be filled, and again, we've already lost 3 weeks now, so I'm motioning to have the drafts for our review by next Friday.
Second
Next
for
Friday,
discussion.
this week?
No, next Friday.
So
week
the
from this
20
Yeah.
25th?
So, yeah.
25th.
Because it's the administrator's report only speaks to Concom, not Board of Health, so it's two positions that would come before us for review.
So it'd be the 25th?
Correct.
Okay, second.
And any discussion? I would just mention the fact that Mr. Water, our town administrator, was on vacate, was on family leave for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And the complication was that we did not have a job description for the two positions. It was a combined position. I worked with our executive assistant to try to separate those and then forwarded them on to their respective department heads for their input. So it has taken a little bit longer, but I think we want to get it right. That's what's most important. So any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? So voted. Any other questions for Mr. Waters? Mr. Shavo? Okay. Next, we have Selectmen's report. Mr. Pacheco?
I actually don't have anything, Madam Chair. That was the only thing I was going to be bringing up, other than to say again, still looking to get the FY21 budget to date at this point. I know Mr. Waters is working on that. I'd hope to have that soon, because I think it's going to be important for us to recognize where we're at. And I keep seeing that the experts in health believe there's going to be a second COVID surge in the fall. It's not so much a question of if, it's a question of when and the severity of it. And so part of that planning, unfortunately, has to be driven by finances, and we, quite frankly, don't know where we're at yet to date actual. So I think we really need to get that information immediately.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Pacheco. Mr. Shavo, Selectmen's report.
Yep, a couple of things, Pat. I would like to make a motion that we, the board, come up with a definitive plan for reopening the town hall to the public. And I'm aware that there's a lot going on internally with regard to the November 3rd election that has to be considered. And one thing I'd like to suggest as we develop a plan, and I think we need to move on that, I'll let you all decide on what would be a proper day to have a plan together. But perhaps the way to do this is to phase in. That is to say, open for 2 days a week for X number of weeks, then move to 3 days a week for X number of weeks, and then finally transition to a full-time, full open. What those dates are, I'd ask for some further input, but I think it's time that we had a definitive plan with some dates locked in.
I would second that for discussion. I would just ask Mr. Shavo, because I know you like having definitive dates. When would you like a proposal to come before the board?
If the 25th sounds, not the 25th, but the Monday,
Yeah, so the 28th?
28th.
Board, would entertain me a second.
Mr. Waters.
I've already reached out to Matt regarding his comments on this idea. I know both Selectman Riley and Selectman Shaiba have brought this to my attention, and I was going to propose it for the next week's agenda to go to bring his email before the board for discussion.
I would just say, too, because it's not actually listed on the agenda for a vote tonight, if you both would be amenable, we can just ask Mr. Waters to put it on the agenda for next week's meeting.
That's fine.
That's all right?
Yep, fine.
Very good.
But-
Anything else, Mr.
Yes,
Shavo?
I do. I think I'm reading this letter from the fire department from
Yes.
Chief LaCivetta, and I think it's rather impressive that the department, under his leadership, has acquired a $277,000 grant, and this is for upgrading our self-contained breathing apparatus and compressors, et cetera. And I certainly feel it would be appropriate for the board to send a formal letter of congratulations to the chief and his team for a job well done.
I would second that.
And I think we can definitely
Okay.
go forward with that. And just mention, too, that I think it's the first time the fire department has ever received a federal grant to purchase equipment. So
Correct.
very
And Madam Chair,
effort.
just on that vein, and again, it's not on the agenda, but the correspondence came in after the agenda,
Sure.
and I would deem it to be emergency in nature. I would motion to authorize the fire chief to sign the agreement, which stipulates the 5% match by the town, and I would further add to that motion that we include this amount on the fall town meeting warrant by raise and appropriate, so it doesn't have to come out of the chief's budget. I think $13,857.14 to get us $291,000 in equipment would be an extremely worthwhile endeavor, and I don't want us to lose this
Right.
because I know there's timeframes on it.
Okay,
So-
definitely. So motion, second?
There's two motions. The first is to congratulate them and give them our heartfelt thanks for a
Send
job well
a letter
done.
from the Board of Selectmen.
That would be motion one, and motion two would be to approve the $13,000 and change so that they are able to comply with the grant's financial request.
Absolutely. I think we can probably combine that as
That's
one
fine.
motion.
I'd second the motion.
Okay.
Okay, any discussion?
None.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
It
Aye.
is a unanimous vote, and that is certainly excellent news, and as we said, congratulations. Anything else, Mr. Chavot?
No, thank you.
I just have, well, a couple of things really, but it's all related. I felt concerned because last Tuesday night we announced that we were canceling the special town meeting, and the timing, obviously, to get the word out was very tight so that people would know, because we had sent out postcards notifying everyone. So I do want to thank Rebecca Hyman, the editor for the Taunton Gazette. She did get a news release posted on the Enterprise website and also the Gazette, and it was on front page article on yesterday's Taunton Daily Gazette. But I also spent an hour there last night because I wanted to make sure nobody was going to show up and say, where is everybody? So I was there from about 5:30 to 6:30. I talked with about 20 people that had showed up, came for the meeting, and most of them were not the usual town meeting crew. So the postcards had helped in generating, that, and there were probably another dozen cars that just drove in and drove by. So I apologize to those that had shown up, and again, apologize to anyone out there that didn't get the notice of the cancellation. And I had talked with the town moderator about it. Actually, the concern that I heard, everybody was very nice about, thank you, for letting us know, weren't so concerned about the cancellation. The concern that I heard was that they didn't know what was going to be discussed. They hadn't seen the warrant. As a matter of fact, a couple of people came and said, the reason we came is we thought the board was going to try to sneak something through. Which probably in retrospect is a good thing it was canceled. But I would like to ask, and I can't make a motion, but I would ask for consideration and put it on the agenda, possibly for a vote at next week's meeting, that we set up a policy of this board that the copies of the warrants for all town meetings be mailed out to all postal patrons. I know there is an expense, but I think for reasons of transparency, which is so important to all of us, and the voters, our residents need to know, and they have a right to know. And where there may be an expense involved, we spend a lot of money at those town meetings. And certainly the residents need to know about that. So that would be, I will ask that we put that on the agenda for consideration at the next meeting as a policy.
Yeah, I have no issues, Madam Chair. I think it's good. My concern with the postcard was the board wasn't made aware of it.
Right. Oh, I realize that.
This would remove that obstacle in the future. And
Yeah.
the other point that you made is it gave very little information. I think the other thing that it did not do was give contact information. So I received a few questions from people because they wanted to know what was being discussed. If the process had been more deliberative and inclusive, then we could have put together a postcard that would have encompassed some of these things, not all of them, because people didn't know who to call. The jurisdiction of town meeting falls under us, the moderator, the clerk. There's a lot of different entities who are involved in it, and it was just, again, another example of kind of organized chaos, so.
Well, I think if we have a policy going forward that, in addition, I'd like to include on that, it also be posted on the website, but also be mailed out to our postal patrons. And so if we can consider that as a policy. And another idea that I had, we do have, and I'm not sure how many residents are aware of this, that we do have through the Selectmen's office an email list that they send out on a weekly basis, notices of meetings and anything else that's of importance that we want to get out there. And I would ask, and we could certainly ask the town clerk if this would be a problem, but we've got a big election coming out, that outside of the voting area, but that a table be set up outside where people can sign up if they want to give us their email address to join that email list. It's just another way of trying to communicate and reach out to our constituents.
Madam Chair, just to clarify, I don't think it's a weekly email. I think it's when something is added to the website.
We'll have to check on that,
Yeah.
but I think it is weekly, because our agenda goes out anyway.
Yeah, but, so that would be it's when something's posted.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody that I'm aware of that drafts correspondence, so
Right.
what the emails go out is based
Meeting
upon.
notices.
Exactly.
Right.
It's not one, though. I believe they're separate.
Yeah.
So, and then the other piece to it is, I don't mind taking emails, but the problem is somebody would have to enter them into the system, because the way I understand it works is, people go to the website, they sign up for it.
Right.
So we would have to, if we had those, have somebody responsible for entering them all. So just logistically,
Sure.
you know.
Sure. Well, we can give that a little bit more thought, but just some way to try to get more information out, because not everybody watches our meetings, if you can believe that. Not everybody goes to the website, and not everybody gets the newspapers. So, and I think it is, our obligation to try to provide whatever information and as much information as we can to our constituents. That's all that I have for Selectmen's report. And next, correspondence. We have correspondence from the Massachusetts Department of Telecommunications and Cable. This is just a notice that, according to their department, our cable television license with Verizon expires on, they like advanced planning, October 7, 2023. And so this, I would believe, should be forwarded.
To Cable Commission and Attorney August, presuming they maintain him.
Thank
Or
you.
request to maintain him.
Thank you, Mr. Pacheco. Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Press time. Do we have any members of the press with us? Hearing none. Emergency business, Mr. Pacheco?
None.
Mr. Shavo? I have none. Citizen and community input. Does anyone wish to address the board under citizen and community input? Graham, do you see anyone out there in remote land?
1 second. No, I don't have anything.
Do you see anyone, Michael? Nobody. Okay, so we are good. Performance of administrative duties. Do we have a motion to approve the Town of Raynham invoice and payroll warrants?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pacheco, second by Mr. Shavo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. And a motion to approve the Raynham Police invoice and payroll warrants for this date. Motion by Mr. Shavo, second by myself. All in favor? Aye.
to adjourn.
All right, and any opposed? Mr. Pacheco abstains, so that's 2 in favor, 1 abstention. And now, motion to
Okay,
adjourn
thank you.
at,
Yep,
oh
second.
my gosh, see that? 2 meetings in a row. Just a few minutes over, Mr. Pacheco. Motion to adjourn at 7:32 PM. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So voted. Thank you for joining us.